Hello and welcome to VR Vertigo. So, Starfield. The other day I made a video where I took a little time to drag Starfield over the coals because, frankly, it was a bit lazy. But it's not all bad news because just recently, over the last few hours, we've heard that there are rumbles, there are rumours that Starfield may be undergoing an overhaul. They're trying to fix it. Well, as I've said from my previous videos about Marathon, I think it's a game worth saving. And Starfield isn't all bad. In fact, Starfield is a game of extremes. There are some really lazy, obvious things there which shouldn't exist. And yet, alongside that, there's so much beauty. The design ethos that runs throughout Starfield is, quite frankly, in my opinion, superb. And the fact now that we're hearing rumours that there have been private playtests, private showings to influencers and other people and interested parties is very welcome news. Because in the same vein that Marathon was worth saving, this game is worth saving. And I think potentially more so. Todd Howard once said, "It's not where a game launches, it's where a game lands that counts." And I thought that was just a ridiculous statement because it excused so many sins. Yeah, look, everyone knows we're going to launch it broken, but it'll be fine 2 years down the line. Well, I'm paying for this game now. I want it to work now. I want it to be a full experience now. I want it to be the best it possibly can be now. And so, Todd, should you. So what if they can fix Starfield? What does that mean for the gamer? What does it mean for the game? Will they have a new soft launch? When one imagines that they would. Because what would be the point of putting so much time and effort if you're not going to release it again with fanfare? On a few occasions now, most notably with the Fallout 4 Anniversary Collection, Bethesda have released to fanfare content which frankly should have been buried. And yet here we are with potentially one of the most visually rounded games on the market today in that sci-fi shooter genre, reborn, fixed, ready for another bite of the cherry. I'm happy to hear the news. I think it's great. So here, on VR Vertigo, I champion games that would be great in VR. I think it's important to have a voice out there consistently talking about games that would make great VR conversions. And Starfield is so ripe that it's tantalizing. If they can get this game to work in VR, and there is a mod, I believe, which isn't perfect, but it's out there. And there are advances being made in headsets all the time. There are clever little bits of programming that are happening to make the whole double processing of each eye a little less laborious for the headsets and the processors within them, thereby taking us closer and closer to the full gaming experience that was intended by the people who developed the game. And I think we're on the cusp of something truly wondrous. If you consider for one moment the amount of time and effort it took to make Starfield. You have to wonder whether or not there isn't somebody at Bethesda saying, we could do a lot worse than bring this to VR. Again, it's just a new market and it's developing all the time and it keeps the game relevant. Although Starfield was in many ways lazy, it was also in many ways groundbreaking. It brought a sense of beauty to a console game that we'd rarely seen before. And now, with talk of this upgrade, this rebirth of Starfield, we can only hope that much of what was criticised has been repaired, rethought, redesigned, or even taken out. It's difficult to know how they'll do it because the game, for many people, is irretrievably broken at its core. I don't think so. What Starfield does in terms of gameplay and story, it still does relatively well, and certainly better than many, many games. And that alone, I think, is worth the price of admission. Bringing this into VR would just increase the immersion for the player. The locations, the lighting, the story, the vehicles, the weapons are all elements that are crying out to be played in VR. And it would be nice if elements of Starfield were in fact a bit more like No Man's Sky. And who knows, maybe, eventually, they will be. I want very much for Starfield to survive, even though I slagged it off. It has more going for it than going against it. It's a thin line, but it does have more going for it. And I think that is worth the effort. And if the rumours are true, then it looks as though that might be the case. And we all get to benefit. But this is a message now directly to Bethesda. And I don't flatter myself that they'll hear this anytime soon or ever. But as I say, voices are important. And this is my 2 pence worth. Bethesda, do an official VR port. It would do nothing but enhance your reputation and the relevance of the game. It would keep it current and open up the game to a whole new market. Because whether you like it or not, VR's coming and you have to get on board. So, Bethesda, do us all a favour and start development for Starfield VR. I would buy the game again, and so would many others. And I would happily pay for a good, official VR version of Starfield. Will it happen? Who knows? But personally, I would love to play Starfield in VR. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Do like, subscribe and share if you'd like. And until next time, bye bye.